Thank you, Chairman. I congratulate all of our nominees to your nominations for these important positions. I thank you for your interest in serving our country. Mr. Switzer, you've been nominated for an important post, Deputy U.S. Trade Representative, Investment Services, IP, with the rank of Ambassador. So I'll be directing some questions at you. For too long, American patients have unfairly burdened shouldered the cost of global pharmaceutical innovation, while foreign governments impose price controls that shift the share of R&D costs onto U.S. consumers. This isn't just a health policy issue, it's a trade issue, and it's one that President Trump has rightly prioritized. These foreign pricing practices function as non-tariff barriers that distort markets, that undervalue American innovation, and undermine U.S. exports and jobs. That's why I have welcomed the administration's directive for the administration to address these policies directly and to secure binding commitments from our trading partners to fairly value U.S. developed medicines. Trade policy must defend American innovation, not allow it to be discounted abroad. Foreign nations shouldn't be permitted to game the system at the expense of U.S. patients, workers, and future medical breakthroughs. Mr. Switzer, if confirmed, how do you plan to elevate the issue of discriminatory price controls, particularly in key Asian markets, and what practical steps would you take to encourage our trading partners to share this burden of pharmaceutical innovation?
Thank you very much, Senator. It's a very important question. I agree completely. As for elevating it, luckily the president has already made it a priority, so that makes it very easy for someone like me. When I go in and speak to my counterparts in any country, having the backing of the president, the public backing of the president, where he's called this out, his sort of long-standing history now at this point of being very serious about trade, countries taking the president seriously, enables me to go in and have my words taken very seriously. I agree that there are a number of trade tools that we could use as we negotiate through specifics in any given country, making sure that our firms get fair access, that they aren't discriminated against. I can tell you again, specifically in China, what they do is they have a national drug list. When a drug is available to be sold in China, it first has to go through the National Family Planning and Health Commission. They have to decide that the drug can be provided to their customers, to their consumers. When they negotiate that, however, it starts with a negotiation in their own legislation that says they want an 80% discount off of the global price in order to sell into the Chinese consumers. And they have a 3-year renegotiation where their expectation is to renegotiate another further 50% down. We need to attack those things head on. Those are discriminatory practices. Europe has its own problem sets. They can sell in here to the U.S. Our firms oftentimes end up manufacturing overseas in order to gain access to those markets. So I agree with you completely, sir. It's a priority of mine. I will bring it up at every opportunity.
It seems to me this would be a smart way to address one that brings together Republicans, Democrats, almost all stakeholders, certainly consumers around the country. I'm not yet sold on the whole most favored nation construct, but this is an area I think that is ripe for opportunity for the administration. So I thank President Trump for prioritizing it. Digital trade and infrastructure, something else. I've only got about a minute left that I'd like to briefly touch on, but this is going to be an important tool moving forward economically. The U.S. leads the way with respect to development and provision of digital services. We really need to strike more digital trade agreements. It also becomes a national security issue when you think about the ability of this ecosystem to continue to be built out around the world, interoperability, our standards built into these different systems, as opposed to the Chinese standards, which don't value openness, transparency, and interoperability. So the U.S. digital trade agenda has to go beyond data flow commitments to include standards that promote trust, transparency, security. If confirmed, Mr. Switzer, how would you balance the commercial opportunities of digital services trade with the national security risks posed by untrusted suppliers, particularly Chinese state-linked providers?
Thank you, Senator. I've actually written extensively on this in the past. It's something that I know a great deal about. I've worked extensively, particularly on the hardware side. I think one of the aspects that folks don't pay a
It's
lot.
the U.S. Senate, so if you could just summarize a lifetime of scholarship in 30 seconds or less would be helpful.
Sure, Senator. I agree completely. We need to build networks of trust. We need our partners and allies in Europe, in Latin America, in elsewhere in Asia to agree to networks of trust to install telecommunications, Internet of Things, cyber physical systems that can be trusted. That means in most cases those products and the core technology underneath them are American made. In most cases, we need to make sure that those are made in America wherever possible, or made in allied countries wherever possible. We need to build that into our trade and our other bilateral agreements with our partner nation states.
Couldn't agree with you
completely,
more.
sir.
Look forward to working with you on that priority. Chairman?